Hey, what's up everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here once again. Today we're doing another edition in my series where I'm going through some of the most criminally underrated bands in history, in my opinion. This is the second episode of this series that I started. The previous series I was tackling traditional heavy metal and the band Heavy Load. And today we're going to go into the black metal territory and a band that I really feel does not get enough recognition, and that is Wodensthrone. They are formed in England, in the UK, in around 2005. They only put out a couple of albums, which is probably a big reason why they're maybe not more well known. They play atmospheric black metal, pagan black metal, very much in the same vein of bands like Winter Filleth, Wolves in the Throne Room, Druid Seor. If you like any of those kind of bands and haven't heard Wodensthrone before, you should probably go check them out because they are definitely awesome. Yeah, like I said, they only had 2 full-length albums, but they both are so good that I feel like more people should be listening to them and mentioning them. A lot of these other lists I see online and stuff like that talking about best black metal albums, best black metal bands, no one ever mentions Wodensthrone, and I feel like it's a shame because these 2 albums are absolute classics, especially in the atmospheric black metal subgenre. And yeah, I just want to talk about my love of these albums and the band in general. So yeah, like I said, they started in 2005. They did end up disbanding in 2016, so they were only around for about 10 years. They started off their career, they had released just a couple of split albums in like 2005, 2000, or no, probably like 2006, 2007, before actually unleashing their debut in 2009. Their debut album was titled Loss, and just absolutely awesome atmospheric black metal. It's really like prominent keyboards in the background, some folk elements. I definitely wouldn't call it like folk black metal. It's just a little bit of folk elements interspersed in there. The lyrics very much like England-based, UK-based, about their heritage. It's very similar to like a band like Winter Filleth, but very much just going back to the times of old. And it's just really amazing stuff. This album opens up with a very nice intro titled Fergan Stream. It's a very nice, like, acoustic, folky, atmospheric piece with spoken word. Just a great way to open up the album. Then it just starts flowing seamlessly into the next song, which is just some roaring black metal with Leodom on Land. This has just got a huge, epic landscape. Most of the songs on here are very long. This one's no exception. And it's really just so rich with emotion, and it just takes you on a journey to the past. You really feel like you're lost in nature. This whole album really evokes like the feeling of a rainstorm, kind of. Like it's very gloomy and dark, almost a little depressing and sad, but beautiful at the same time. If what I'm saying makes sense at all, if you picture a rainstorm and what kind of music would go with that, this album would suit it so fucking well. This song and whole album really showcases their ability to write like very rich and gloomy atmospheric black metal. So filled with sorrow, yet jaw-droppingly beautiful. Just such gorgeous songs on here. So after that, the third song, I'll probably mispronounce this, is Hyung Fung Tid. Definitely a highlight of the album, at least early on. Really fucking solid stuff. After that, it goes into Those That Crush the Roots of Blood. This is a very aggressive song, really awesome, really great underlying melodies, even though it's a more aggressive song. Just, they are the masters of writing this really aggressive black metal, but with such emotion, nice melodies underneath. It's so fucking good. Like, if you like Wolves in the Throne Room, you gotta go listen to this. It's very similar in style, but really putting their own spin on it, that UK black metal sound, and they do it so fucking well. After that, it goes to the longest track on the album, Black Moss. It's about 13 minutes long. Has a really nice driving main riff. All in all, like this album, the black metal rasps, they're filled with so much emotion. Like this song's no exception. The vocalist, I think his name was Brunwolf, really brought so much emotion into his rasps. Even though it's screaming, you can still hear like the tortured pains of just wanting to go back to the past, the ways of old. And it's just fucking awesome. There's a few clean vocals thrown in here and there. The drumming on this whole album is excellent. The guitar riffs are great, but this album's definitely more built around like the like the orchestrations, the instrumentations with the keyboards, and the riffs are kind of built around that. It's just really building up the atmosphere. So there's still a lot of great riffs, but it's really more built around the orchestrations. And after Black Mosque, it goes into one of my favorite songs in the album, Upon These Stones. That one starts acoustically, then it really explodes into a black metal fury, a lot of blast beats, black metal riffs that are so great. And it kind of takes like a little folky break in the middle, which is really nice. Got a little tin whistle in there. Just really fucking awesome. Really builds it up to a nice close to the song. After that, it goes into a nice instrumental, like folky acoustic interlude titled Pillar of the Sun. It's really great, and the placement on the album is fucking awesome. That it's the second last song. Kind of gives you a little bit of a breather after Upon These Stones, and then before it explodes into the last song, it transitions perfectly into that. Probably my favorite track on the album is the last track, That Which Is Now Forgotten, 597. This is just an epic closer, more of a mid-paced song as opposed to some of the faster aggressive stuff. Just so grandiose, so epic in scope, and it's just fucking amazing. Like, this honestly is one of my favorite atmospheric black metal albums of all time, and I feel like it doesn't get enough love. My camera is really messing up here, so hopefully it didn't cut too much off. Sorry about that. Hopefully that's a little bit better. If I was going to rank this album out of 10, I would give it like a solid 9.6 out of 10. I did my top 10 albums of 2009 quite a while back, and I'm pretty sure I had this one number 1. I don't think it was even that tough of a choice. This one was clearly my favorite album of that year. And if you've never heard Lost, please do yourself a favor and go check it out. So a few years later, they did put out their subsequent album. This one is titled Curse. I actually have a poster of that one. Maybe I'll try to see it up there in the corner, top side over there. Really fucking awesome album art. This one really just continues the legacy of the debut in fantastic fashion. Like, really delivers on the same kind of like mood and tone. It's actually a little bit darker and grimmer, maybe more anger than the first album as well. So it's not exactly the same atmosphere, not so much of being lost in a rainstorm, but this one's more of a thunderstorm of anger and hatred. But it's still, the lyrics are still very much focused on the same stuff, same pagan themes, and it's just fucking awesome. The guitar tones on this album are like just shimmering. They're so fucking great. It just like echoes the transcendence of nature, that it can go from such a harsh portion to such beauty. And that's just like what nature does. And it's fucking awesome. It goes from such harsh black metal assaults to these gorgeous, tender, like almost fragile moments. And they do it effortlessly. Like, they make it seem so fucking easy. The keyboards on this album are definitely toned down as compared to the debut. It's not as much built around the keyboards. This one's definitely more riff driven, but the riffs really fucking deliver the goods here. There's great black metal riffing on this whole fucking album. The vocalist from the debut, Brunwolf, he actually left the band before this, so the rest of the members do shared vocal duties on this album, but they didn't miss a beat. Maybe I prefer the vocals on the debut by a touch, but it's not a knock on this album. The rest of the band members do a fucking awesome job. There's even a few clean vocals thrown in there, and the raps are fucking great as well. So this one also kicks off with a short intro. It's only like 40 seconds. Not as good of an intro as the debut album, but it really still sets the mood with just this quiet acoustic build-up. Then right into the next song, Jormungander, starts immediately with these great black metal tremolo riffs, just a frenzy of black metal. Fucking awesome way to start the album with that short intro, then into this song. The next track, First Light, definitely a highlight of the album. This one actually had some additional songwriting credits go to Andy Marshall from Seor, and I fucking love Seor. Basically anything Andy Marshall touches is fucking gold, so that's probably why this song is so fucking good. It's got a little bit of slower pace riffs to start it off, but then it builds up really nice into this great climax. Absolutely killer song. Definitely need to check it out. That next song is The Great Darkness. This one has a really interesting, like, weird timing opening riff with like some spoken word underneath, but that goes for a couple minutes and then just goes into this really dark, heavy black metal, and it's so awesome. Absolutely killer track. Then it goes into Battle Lines, but that one's more of like a straight ahead black metal song. Really nice riffing throughout the whole thing. Song after that is another highlight. I don't really know how to pronounce it. Weird Through or something like that, but absolutely amazing riffs. like I said, another highlight of the album, easily one of my favorite tracks. The one after that is The Storm, which is probably the most aggressive song they've ever done. Just a frenzy of black metal, so awesome, just a furious assault on your ears. And it's a perfect way to set up the last song, which is by far easily my favorite Wodensthrone song, The Name of the Wind. This is the longest track on the album. It's over 13 minutes long. It is absolutely goddamn epic. So awesome. Like one of the best atmospheric black metal songs out there, in my opinion. If you've never heard Wodensthrone, just go listen to The Name of the Wind. It'll give you a perfect idea of what they're all about. It really starts with a nice quiet intro for a couple minutes, just like acoustic. Then it really builds up into like a mid-paced riff and just builds throughout the whole fucking song. Just layers this great atmosphere, beautiful soundscapes, and you just get lost in this song. You can drift off to it. It's so epic, so good. So yeah, if I was gonna rank these two albums, like I said, I gave the debut like 9.6 out of 10. I think Curse is maybe a smidge below it. Not much. I'm not knocking this album. I absolutely love it. I'll give this one like 9.4 out of 10. Still absolutely killer atmospheric black metal. Just stellar stuff if you've never heard these guys. So unfortunately, yeah, they never released anything after that. It's just these two albums. That is probably the reason why they're not more well known and don't really get a lot of love on the internet. Like, not to say they get a lot of hate. I think these two albums were both very well critically received, but I just feel like I don't hear anyone talking about this band, and they should be, because these albums fucking rule. So yeah, if you've never heard Wodensthrone and you're into atmospheric black metal or just black metal in general, please do yourself a favor and go check out these two albums. Anyways, this was another edition of underrated bands that I think you should check out. And yeah, give me a like, give me a subscribe. Let me know down below what your thoughts on Wodensthrone are. Do you love these two albums as much as I do? Do you wish they put out more? I sure as hell do. But anyways, until next time, Hammerheart Metal Reviews out.